Alright, so let's cut to the chase. This is the best Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts figure. And you can make arguments for other figures, but without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so kicking it off, he comes with 2 fist hands, open palm hands, relaxed hands. Last but not least for the hands, you get 1 pointing finger, and you get 1 come here finger. As for other hands I would have liked to see, I would have loved to see that one picture where Buu has his thumb down. That would have been a nice extra hand to have, but we didn't get that. Other than that, the hands here are pretty satisfactory. It also would have been nice to get like a little energy ball effect, but once again, what we have here is definitely satisfactory. Moving on. For the different heads, we get 1 evil grin face, 1 yelling face, which is fantastic, and you can replicate that iconic scene for when he's trying to break out the hyperbolic time chamber and he's throwing his temper tantrum. 1 mean mugging face, and you get a fat Buu head. Now, one thing I will say about this is that of course, it's only really useful if you have the fat Buu figure, which is on my wish list of figures to get at some point. And you also get like the energy effect. One thing I will say is that I wish that Super Buu came with a similar head like this, where he's using his head tentacle to turn somebody into something. That would have been really nice. You know, specifically to replicate that scene where he turns like Chi-Chi into an egg. But other than that, a very solid batch of accessories. Moving on. In terms of articulation, starting with the head. He looks up that far, down that far, swivel side to side, and you get some wonderful tilt action between the actual head joint and the neck at the bottom. Wonderful neck movement, head movement. Wonderful. Can't get much better than that. You do get a little gapping when you push it to the extreme, but that's okay, because even without pushing it to the extreme, you get a lot of movement. Moving on. Arms go out to the side. That absolutely bring the arms across the chest, but as you can see, breaks the sculpt. Going back, he can't bring his arms across his back, so not really impressive. Swivel at the top of the bicep, double jointed elbow, swivel at the wrist, and you get a hinge forward. Going back, not so much because the gauntlets are on the way, but that's a part of the character design, so it's to be expected. He leans back, not very. He leans forward pretty far, but the only thing I will say is that you do get some gapping, which is not a big issue, especially if you know how to take your pictures from the correct angles, but something to note. Tilt side to side, very minimal. Swivel side to side, works very well, but it's all coming from this top diaphragm joint and a little bit from this second joint right here. Either way, good stuff. He has beyond perfect profile splits. Perfect splits. Swivel at the top of the thigh. Decent double jointed knee, but that's only because his pants are so poofy. So at that point, it's really based on, well, what do you want, sculpt or articulation? Ankles, they go down that far, up that far, hindered by the character design, so not much you can do about that. And you get a whatever toe hinge. Height to the top of his head tentacle, a little bit over 8 inches. So he has a very nice size to room next to Ultimate Gohan, and I would have to say that's pretty much close enough. He is next to Superhero Piccolo, which is, once again, Piccolo is very undersized. I'm gonna put a picture in the corner so y'all can see. He is. He is next to Super Saiyan Broly. Here he is next to Super Saiyan Broly Full Power. So you heard all that and you're wondering, should I still get this figure? Now, before we get into that, I'm going to give it the ratings. For aesthetic, I gotta give it a 9.5 out of 10. Yo, this figure looks great. It looks like they peeled him right off the anime or manga. This has the best likeness of any Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts figure. And maybe it's one I can think of that could come close, but I think this one comes closer. This guy, the only thing I would say that you could add to this guy is more shading on the skin. The pants have shading, a very subtle gray shading to go on the white pants, and it looks great. Other than that, for articulation, I give him 8.7 out of 10. Now, why is it? What's the point 0.7 for? Because usually I'll do like 8.5. That extra point 2 is for those beyond perfect front to back splits. That's incredible. In terms of accessories, 8 out of 10. Only because it's nice that you get the Fat Buu head, but that's only useful to you if you have Fat Buu, you know? So it is a nice accessory, but it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if you don't got it, it's kind of useless. If you don't have Fat Buu, it's useless to you. Either way, in terms of you get this figure, absolutely. What are you thinking? This is one of the best figures from the S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball line that you can add to your collection. This is very well done. Sculpt work is on point. Articulation is pretty good. It could be better in some areas, but it's good enough. And as you've seen in the Striker Pose segment, it looks really good posed up. This figure is it's the bee's knees. It's the best thing since sliced bread, you know? So for all that oh yeah, and also the best thing about it is you don't even gotta pay like secondary market prices for this figure. You could, because it's being re-released, I think this month or next month, either this month or next month. So like you don't even gotta worry about that. So you can get it paying regular retail price. You don't gotta worry about paying some exorbitant amount of money for this figure. So with that being said, like, absolutely get this figure. And until next time, Bombastic Plastic out. Stay fantastic.